we knew what it meant. We didn't know what it was. And what I mean by that is, like Sylvester would, that girl would say, "I love you," and we'd be like, "I like you too." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because what you said you love, it was all in then. You know what I'm saying? So
There you go.
you still drew that boundary. Like, I'm not there yet. So we didn't know what that meant, but we know what it that verbiage or that language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know what it meant. And it reminded me of something that we used to play, when we talk about, looking at hindsight and looking at that which we fell in love with before we knew what the word meant. I remember we used to play hide go seek on my street, and we would always play up under the street light because that was the time to let you know when you needed to get your butt on toward the house. And so you would put your head on the pole and you would count Mississippi's and give everybody a chance to go. And the goal was just to make sure you tagged somebody before they made it back. Because you wanted, but then if somebody hid too well, if somebody didn't give you a chance, you couldn't find them no matter how hard you tried. You remember what the word was that made everybody know that they could come in. Y'all remember what the word was? Ollie oxygen free, because it meant that everybody could come in, that they could make their way into the place then. And it was rather funny that some of the older ones would hide the closest to where the pole was, because all they wanted to do was to hurry up and touch the pole and before I could touch them, and then they could go and sit down and watch me try to chase everybody else down. And so if you really begin to think about it, this is what ends up happening with relationships and what happens with the choices that you make in them. There's some people that can hide better than others what their true intents are, right? And sometimes people really just don't know because they're making it up as they go. My father used to always tell me that a locked door is not for a criminal. A locked door is for somebody, is to keep honest people honest. Because he always felt a criminal would just break the window and come on in anyway. And so there are times when you don't know who really is the one who doesn't have your best interests at heart and the ones who do. It's real close, it's real hard, and it's difficult. And so sometimes you may hang around something that doesn't look lovely in the beginning based off of what you see. But in reality, this person may have your back like no other. And that's the real thing about what love is. And I'm with you. I don't remember telling my partners that I loved them until we were grown. Mm-hmm. Definitely not through high school. I don't remember saying none of it because all of us made it out of high school. So I never said that I loved any of them until afterwards. So at the end of the day, that's where it boils down to me. So sometimes you got sheep who hide in wolves' clothing. Let me just say it that way.
Yeah. And I love, let me just say that I love the various perspectives that are coming forth as we talk about this proverb, tell me who you love and I'll tell you who you are. I am also finding some enjoyment in even reflecting on this because it allows me to go back to my childhood, right? And to think about those things that I enjoyed doing the most, but also those people that I enjoy being with the most. And the thing that I am struck by is this idea that while there were people that I enjoy spending time with, and there were some regulars, right? A lot of it was based on proximity, right? If you lived on my street and you lived near me and we enjoyed doing the same things together, then we likely spend a lot of time together, right? But if for some reason my resources wouldn't allow me to spend a lot of time with you, no matter how much I might enjoy you, I found other people to spend time with because it was really one of those protective factors, right? I can't sit up and miss something or someone because my resources won't allow me to spend time with them. And so for me, it begs this question of, how decisions were made and the reality that in a lot of cases, the decisions were made for me. as I grew up. So really, as I reflect on this, and again, having a lot of fun reflecting on it, I'm thinking, man, at what point could I really make those decisions on my own versus those decisions being made for me?
You know, it's rather funny you say that, Sylvester. So you had street friends, and then you had school friends, and then you might have had neighborhood friends. And the older you got, the larger your circle got. And to me, that's where it all took place at. But you know what? Love is still love, no matter how you look at it. Hey, folks, we're going to take our first break right here. You're listening to The Front Porch. We'll be right back.
If I could do one thing, I'd make sure that there were more textbooks in schools. I'm a teacher. I've seen the need. But my girlfriend here likes to say,
don't just talk about it, be about it.
And we're about the 2020 census.
Because when everyone gets counted on the census, it helps inform public funding in our neighborhood for the next 10 years.
So don't just talk about it.
Be about it.
Complete the census online, by phone, or by mail. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov.
And we're back, folks, with The Front Porch, presented to you by North Flint Neighborhood Action Council, Community Foundation of Greater Flint, and Census 2020. Don't forget to do your census. And Willie has brought up this great adage for us to rest our conversation on today, when one of his older cousins told him, tell me who you love, and I'll tell you who you are. And we just dived in and we talked a little bit about it from hindsight standpoint. And now we're going to move into insight. And Willie, why don't you start us off, my friend?
Wow. Well, I think that what my cousin was trying to tell me at that point was that you have to be cognizant of the people you're hanging around and what you want to do. So, like, if I wanted to go to college, then I need to be liking and loving people who have the same kind of goals in mind. So you can't be hanging with the gangsters out there and be trying to go to college at the same time, because it ain't gonna work. You're either gonna end up in jail or in the graveyard hanging out like that. But and for him to see in me the possibilities of greatness gave me even greater love for him in my eyes. And I was able to move past some of the things that I was dealing with at that time and become a stronger person, a better person, and one who became more ethically sound in my choices and decisions. So throwing it out there, who want it?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna take a stab at it because again, I am having so much fun unpacking this proverb. Tell me who you love, and I'll tell you who you are. And the thing that I continue to wrestle with is the various stations that we have in life, right? Childhood, and then you move into your adolescence, and then you become a young adult, and then you take on a more mature adult with more responsibility. And I think it's really profound what your cousin said, because when you're at a place when you can make decisions for yourself about who you spend time with and what you will do, then you do associate with those people whose values are more aligned with yours. Or in your cousin's vernacular, I can imagine him saying, spend time with those people who have the values that are aligned with where you want to go. And so there is something to be said for being intentional and being decisive, right? And recognizing that as you decide, you know, and I often tell my children, even now, when you say yes to something, that means you have to say no to something else, right? And so once you decide where you want to go, that means that you have to say no to some other things and oftentimes some other people, right? Now, growing up in the 48505, let's really think about that, right? What kinds of people do you want to say no to, and what kinds of people do you want to say yes to, right? And so it's about thinking about all of those things in a very deliberate and intentional way, recognizing that even in your leisure time, you have to decide who I want to rock with and who I can't afford to risk it all with.
Yeah, I'm looking at this proverb, and I'm looking at this word that my mom always used to share with me, you know, from Matthew 22:37-39. It says, Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. So in theory, if you loving your neighbor as yourself, right, then who you love is really talking about how you love yourself. That's one way I'm looking at this proverb, right? So if I'm loving people that don't mean me no good, that ain't up to nothing, ain't got no future plans, you know, just wasting away the day, and I love them, am I really saying this is how I love myself? I'm just throwing that out there for y'all to run with.
Wow, well, I guess